Good evening. Happy Friday. Welcome to ABC 31 News Tonight. I'm Ryan Bass. Tonight's top story, Wynn Parish Sheriff Bodie Little is now facing a state indictment. The 61-year-old one-term sheriff is accused of abuse of office, malfeasance, and perjury. Those charges are in addition to federal drug trafficking indictments, specifically that he covered for a known meth-dealing woman with whom he had sexual relations. That led to his August 2nd arrest. 2 days later, Little pleaded not guilty in federal court in Shreveport. Little was supposed to be released from jail this week, but after a hearing yesterday morning, a federal judge decided the sheriff had violated terms of his bond. The government says he asked his wife to take personal materials from his office and also contacted potential witnesses. Little is currently on leave of absence as sheriff, and the judge has ordered Little stay in jail until he's tried in federal court. That could take up to at least 90 days. A soldier based out of Louisiana will be laid to rest tomorrow in Kansas. Fellow soldiers and grieving relatives gathered in Topeka yesterday as the body of Private First Class Cody Baker returned home. The 19-year-old was in Afghanistan last week along with 2 other soldiers. The Pentagon says enemy forces targeted the soldier's vehicle with an explosive device. Baker was an infantryman with the 10th Mountain Division out of Fort Polk, Louisiana. Today, Rapide Sheriff Chuck Wagner released the numbers behind his 90 Days of Heat drug roundup. Wagner says it's been successful and should rid neighborhoods of big-time dealers.
When we did our 90 Days of Heat, we arrested 234 drug-related arrests, and we seized 10 meth labs for our 90 Days of Heat. And when you get 10 meth labs out of the parish, that's a good thing, and it's something that we're going to continue to chase after to get the bad guys off the street, and we're going to continue our crime sweeps.
That mission ended last Friday. A Marksville man is behind bars tonight. Alexandria police arrested 23-year-old Thomas Laborde on counts of obscenity and stalking. Deputies were investigating several cases of the suspect allegedly committing obscene acts and in some cases allegedly leaving notes on parked cars in Alexandria shopping centers. The case is still currently under investigation. A man arrested in the middle of a burglary. Rapide's deputies responded to a call and arrived at a home in Pineville to find Ralph Utley rummaging through the house. Items were tossed all over the home as police say it appears Utley was going through drawers looking for items. The walls of the house were also damaged. The new dean of the Pressler Law School to be established in Shreveport by Louisiana College. He was on campus today. Dean Michael Johnson further explained plans to delay the opening of the school by another year.
We could still rush it and make the construction deadlines, but we'll have to pay a lot of overtime to do it. And we just looked at it and said that there's not a lot of reason to rush that. Let's take our time and do it the right way so that when we begin classes in 2013, we're prepped and ready to go as we should be. It also gives us further time to work with our inaugural faculty to build that cohesive unit, to very carefully and methodically plan the curriculum and the full program of legal education. And allowing us more time to do that is just a great thing to do.
Johnson's on campus to address the parish Republican Executive Committee. Playwright C. Denby Swanson spent her time today giving back in Alexandria. She's in town for the production by Spectral Sister of her play Waterless Places. However, she spent the afternoon working with budding playwrights. The writers were invited to take their work, read some of it aloud, and then participate in a critique. The Spectral Sisters productions are dedicated to cutting-edge works developed by non-traditional playwrights. For Roman Catholics, it's one of the church's holiest means of connecting with God. It's the Rosary. Alan Toomey reports one man uses it as a way of connecting with the rest of humanity as he shares his devotion with the entire world.
Day after day, Van Marchand sits at his workbench surrounded by beads and wire. The love of God and the Blessed Virgin is in his heart. Van makes rosaries. It's not a hobby, he says, it's a mission, which found its origins on the battlefield.
During the war, when you got your life is pretty well much in danger, you pay pretty much attention to how you pray, you know. And in those days, you know, you promise that if you get home alive, you would accept whatever God give you to do, you know.
It took more than 30 years for God to give Van his task, but in 1976, a priest in Florida asked him if he'd like to make some rosaries. Van knew his wartime promise had come due.
It's a mission. I feel like it was given to me to do, you know.
And for the last 3.5 decades, Van has been living his mission, keeping his wartime promise for
Just the joy of doing it.
Van figures he's made about 13,000 rosaries. They've been shipped all over the world. And Van Marchand is at peace with the promise he made at war.
As long as I'm able to do this, I will continue to do this.
In St. Gabriel, Alan Toomey, ABC 31 News.
He doesn't sell his rosaries to the public. He donates them to the church in return for the cost of the materials. And in May, 4 of his rosaries bought $5,600 at auction for the Gonzales Jambalaya Festival. The proceeds went to the festival. Thankfully, this week's market, well, it's finally come to an end. But despite ending higher, are we in the clear yet? And who's hurting the most right now? Let's go to Bloomberg's Deborah Kostrin.